Right, because we run into builders a lot that they've kind of come up with this strategy on their own, and it's a big shock to the system because they all of a sudden went from paying 15 to 20% to paying, 35, 37%. So Andrew, a lot of our clients are home builders, guys in the construction industry, building houses, and one of the topics that comes up a lot is the difference between ordinary and capital gain, right? So most home builders are building houses, that's their inventory, they sell their houses, they're recognizing ordinary income, but every so often we'll have one that holds a house for longer than a year for one reason or another, either a house or a lot or something like that, and they think that that's going to qualify them for the much more advantageous long-term capital gain treatment versus their ordinary income, which could be as high as 37%. They like those ordinary income tax rates that are around 15 to 20%. But it's from reading tax laws and things like that, we understand that that's pretty difficult for a home builder. So I know you have done a ton of research in this area and you deal with this quite a bit. Can you kind of enlighten us a little bit and give our home builders out there a little bit more information in this area?
Sure, yeah. Like I said, we see it a lot, and it's really, really challenging for a home builder, a land developer, a real estate, a construction guy to get capital gain treatment. And it's that general answer of it depends. It truly, really does depend on if you get capital gain treatment. And the IRS looks at a whole facts and circumstance test. There's about 7 questions they like to kind of default to help figure out if you truly should get capital gain treatment on something you sell. But I guess to go over 3 of them that are real important that I see oftentimes in court cases and case law is what was the intent of the purchase when you first bought it? I mean, if you want to get capital gain treatment, you usually bought something and you hope to make a profit from just the natural appreciation of that asset when you sell it. You didn't do anything to it, you didn't improve it, you didn't build it, you didn't do it. You basically bought something, you held it for long term, more than a year,
like
and
buying
you
a
sold
stock or something like that.
Exactly,
you just bought
like
it for an
buying a
investment.
stock. Yep. So what hurts you is if you bought land and you subdivided it, you ran utility lines, you put a gate on the front of the community, and then you started selling off individual lots, but say you've had that for 5 years. Well, that's going to put a little wrinkle in the situation because you don't necessarily get holding it long term doesn't by default get you long-term capital gain treatment. It really depends on all of these
Because
facts.
you're a builder or you're a developer, and that's your business is to do that, and that's considered more your inventory versus an investment.
Right.
Hey guys, we really appreciate you watching this video today. We really hope that it's given you some insight into the tax and accounting and CPA world. If you find these videos interesting and they are of help to you, then please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. Now back to our video.
Right. So, another question they ask is like, to what extent did you make improvements? So like, if you're subdividing it and you're making it more marketable to be sold, those are all little aspects that puts you into the bucket of, well, this is an inventory item, an ordinary income that you purchase with the intent to sell, not just hold it for a long term and sell it at some point with hopes of gaining a profit off of it. So the other, probably one of the most important things that the IRS looks at is what is the taxpayer's everyday business? How do they earn a living? And that kind of by default, that's why we talk about construction guys, home builders, developers, land developers. That's why it's so hard for you to get capital gain treatment, because the IRS looks at like, this is what you do for a living. This is your business. This is how you earn your income. This is how you support yourself. This isn't a passive investment in something that you just hope to, like I said, gain that natural appreciation and value and sell it. Like, you're doing this for a living. So the frequency of these transactions, those are all things that the IRS is going to look for to either say this should have been an ordinary income item or a capital gain item. So it really is a full facts and circumstances test on like what truly transpired here, what all took place here. I really would encourage you to reach out to us or your CPA or someone to go over this if you have an asset that you think may be getting long-term capital gain treatment, because it's not a fun conversation to have at tax time.
After the tax.
After
the fact.
During tax time, and after everything's been done, and you have to go over with someone that like, hey, this probably isn't a a capital gain here. This is an ordinary income item.
Right, because
so-
we run into builders a lot that they've kind of come up with this strategy on their own, and they just say, well, I've held this lot for 2 years. So in their mind, they think
It's
they know how
long-term,
much tax they're
but
going to
it's
have to
not.
pay on it.
Yeah.
And then whenever it comes time to do the tax return, we tell them that based on your facts and circumstances, we feel like this is ordinary income, not capital gain.
Yeah.
And it's a big shock to the system because they all of a sudden went from paying 15 to 20% to paying, 35, 37%.
Yep.
So, yeah, absolutely encourage, if you have these type of transactions and you need to feel like you need to structure something so that way you at some point get the long-term capital gain treatment, there are some potential things that you can do on the front end to make your case a lot better from an IRS standpoint. So it's always best to come to your CPA or us beforehand
Sure.
on the front end and try to get everything structured properly so that way we have a better chance of getting that long-term capital gain treatment in the future.
Yeah, this is one of those, definitely talk to us pre doing anything, because there's really not much you can do after the fact.
Right,
so.
because the facts and circumstances have been set at
They
that
have,
point,
they have,
and it's
so.
it's hard to change that. And just being a developer or a builder, it's just tough to eventually get that to qualify for that long-term capital
is.
gain treatment.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, great information, Andrew. I hope that was helpful to everybody else, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.